What is up, guys? Welcome back to the SashaT podcast, a Whatnot original. We have a familiar face. Coleman Cards is back in the studio. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me, dude. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, dude. Today's podcast, number one thing, our audio wasn't working for some reason today, so if the audio does sound a little bit different, it's coming straight from the camera, so we are going to try to talk a little bit louder just to help you guys out. But yeah, this is going to be probably a little bit of a shorter pod. Also, at the same time, usually we run for like an hour and a half. We're going to keep this to like 30, 35 minutes. We have a couple main points we want to talk about. We're going to talk about national. We're going to talk about the Burbank show. We're going to be talking about, some auctions that we're seeing, all liquid auctions ends tonight. But before we get to all that, I feel like we get this question a lot just because we're going to all these shows and stuff like that. And especially on Instagram, we see like people are asking, well, what's going on in the market? How are dealers able to pivot and navigate within a market that's so volatile? We had this conversation just last night, as you mentioned earlier. This is something that's coming up more frequently just because of where we're at in the general economy. So I don't know, let's have like a cool open conversation about specifically get into you first of like, how are you kind of navigating going to shows, being in this market full time with, where we're kind of at in the economy and in the hobby as well.
For sure. So, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit last night, just like, how you kind of pivot in this type of environment or this type of climate. But at shows lately, obviously it's a lot of trading. Cash is much more valuable now. So everyone should be aware of that. And everybody at shows wants to sell. They always do. They always do. But they're much more motivated now to sell because everyone's a little bit, tight in the pockets and stuff like that. So, when I go to shows now, or just in general, I'm trading a lot more. And there's value in that, in my opinion, because I'll trade down on a lot of stuff. I'll definitely break a bigger card into a bunch of small ones, especially if I think that I can, get agreed upon values on the small ones that are, average out amongst the comps, because then I take those and I'll list them on eBay and I'll just set them at sort of the higher spectrum of the comps. And sometimes those get hit and then you end up basically,
making some money off that.
And you end up, a lot of times you end up getting your full amount of cash that you wanted for the big card. It's just nobody had that amount of money for the big card. And then with buying, it's just right now, it's if you're buying for the long term, that's fine. It's just you need to have enough liquidity to be able to do it. Whereas right now, I for my particular situation, I'm only buying if I know for a fact I'm going to be able to flip this at any point if I want to and make money off of it. Whereas, before you might say oh yeah, that's a good deal, so let me grab it. Knowing that if you get stuck on it, no big deal because you have plenty of other sales going on and stuff like that. But with money a little bit tighter for everybody, I find just, being very, very cautious with how you're spending. Unless you have plenty to spend, but then even still, you got to know that that's an extremely powerful position to be in. And you want to really make sure that if you are buying, you're buying at the absolute cheapest price you possibly can, because people are very, very motivated to sell right now, and they're willing to take a lot less than they normally would. But that being said, we have comps that are really down, but I still get tons of action on eBay and, at shows, it might not be a crazy amount because shows are just different, but eBay and online and, I know for Whatnot for you, there's tons of action on the smaller low end levels and stuff. So I think if you're navigating around there and just really hustling, you can still do really well. It's not as easy as it was, right? But that's what happens in a recession. It's harder to make money. And the people that actually have a skill set come to the forefront during a down market, whereas the people that were making money but they don't actually have the skills to hustle and keep it going, they'll get hurt a little bit more. And then with a lot of people that are holding stuff, it's just rough. It's just rough. So, in this type of market, it's really advantageous to be dancing in and out, meaning trading in and buying, selling, and everything like that, trying not to hold things too long because a lot of things do go down. So that's, kind of what I do.
Well, you talked a little bit about price points being down, and talked how your eBay's still doing really, well, I would assume, in terms of getting cards out and getting new cards in and then putting it on eBay. But in terms of like, somebody sees a deal, they're like, well, this card comped at 10,000, now it's going for 6 on eBay. Like, how do you navigate like what you're personally buying? Because one could say if you took somebody from 12 months ago and put them in today's market, they'd probably buy everything because they think everything's a deal. So how do you navigate through that as well?
Oh, like seeing that prices are cheap, so you think that you should be buying stuff right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's tough. So the way I keep looking at everything is, well, 3 years ago it was worth 5 times less than it is even now. What I mean by that is people are like, oh, well, this card was 50 grand, now it's only 10 grand, it's so cheap. But if you look at like 3 years ago, like on a graph on Card Ladder or something, it might show that it was worth like 2 grand, like 3 years ago. Yeah. So technically the card is still 5x what it was 3 years ago. It's just all this stuff went so high that it's come down so much that everyone just thinks like, oh, it's cheap now, but is it actually cheap? So then that's a lens that I look through everything with. And then I start to wonder, okay, is there a real demand for it at this level it's at? Is there actually people that are willing to buy it at this level, and not just one person who's buying it on the way down, like multiple people that are like, oh yeah, this feels like the right, price to buy it or to be buying it at, so that you can, try to get it for less than what maybe it's actually worth, because someone's motivated to sell it, and then be able to sell it for what it's actually worth or a little bit more, because people feel that, it is too cheap, or, because a lot of the stuff, it's just, it got so expensive, and it all started, for basketball, I follow basketball a lot, and LeBron and Luka stuff went on this crazy run, and then so many other basketball players' markets were completely affected by those and went up a ton too, for almost no reason other than the fact that Luka and LeBron were these like value setters. So now you have this entire like robust market that has sky high prices everywhere. So everything starts to come down, but it's still more valuable than it was 2 or 3 years ago. So then you have to ask yourself, like, is a De'Aaron Fox Prism Silver like, is that a good investment right now, even though it's cheaper than it was 6 months ago? Yeah, I don't know. So, that's why. But we're going back to a place where, like, you can actually start to see things before they happen. Like, like Anthony Edwards will probably be hot at National, because of all the momentum he has with that team, and people are like, oh, he was just in the movie. The movie was, I heard the movie was great. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah. So you can actually start to like plot those out and see those things, which is way more organic than how the hobby used to be a couple of years ago and stuff. Like, you wouldn't see like, oh, buy an Anthony Edwards card right now for $1,000, and then in 3 months it's going to be worth $6,000. Yeah, it might be worth $1,500, or it might be worth like $10,000. And you'd be stoked if it would be worth it. And you'd be stoked because like it's just a basketball card. You don't think much of it as like this hyper, investment or something. Yeah, and I think people like also need to look at like the big true collector cards like are still setting record prices. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And even like some that aren't really collector cards, that just cards that just don't surface a lot. Yeah, so those are collector cards. Yeah, like vintage is still like vintage actually has been a point where we talked about this, where like we like getting vintage in trade because it's so liquid. Right. So like there's opportunities like that where like you get into certain cards, maybe the cards that you have aren't as liquid, and you give up, some more in value to get something that like is cash sellable, right? So I think navigating this market, like, it might be harder than what it was, 6, 12, 14 months ago, but like it's still doable. Absolutely. And if it's hard, then it just means that you have more to learn and everything like that. Like, I experience difficulties. I'm not like a genius or anything like that. I make mistakes every single day doing this, and I get better at doing it. And then it helps me be able to navigate markets like this, But like, if it's hard right now, it's probably because like it's not supposed to be easy. Like, you're supposed to have to like work at it and get good at it and figure it out. There's a lot of people that have like left over the last like, I would say 3 or 4 months, like that you used to see at shows that like aren't there anymore. Totally natural. Yeah. Totally natural. With any crazy market that goes nuts like this one, of course, tons of different people are going to come in, and then people will exit as soon as they feel like there's no way to be profitable in the market anymore. But it's not because that's true. It's more just because they don't have enough, enough of a skill set to be able to navigate it.
Yeah. Well, let's shift over to the National, because that's like the big show coming up at the end of the month. A lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people, it's going to be their first time attending. I remember last year was my first time, and that was a crazy experience going there and seeing how many just fucking dealers and showcases there are was absolutely insane.
You had a hit video too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, with my boys. Those are my boys too. So yeah, let's talk about National. Let's talk about. How many have you been to?
This will be my. So I went to 2006 and 2019 and 2021. So this will be my fourth.
Okay, this is going to be your fourth National. Let's talk about like tips, like advice you have for somebody going for the first time, and also like kind of give a general like what are you going to kind of expect if you go to the National.
Yep. Easy tips I'd say would be have comfortable shoes. Like don't try to like dress up and like look good or something like that. These are like really standard tips too that everybody says in any sort of video, but like have comfortable shoes, have deodorant. Deodorant's a huge one, man. I feel like people don't touch on that enough because
or shower, just take a shower.
But honestly, showers aren't enough. I truly am convinced that there's some sort of chemical that secretes from card dudes' bodies when they're at
the cardboard of the shows.
Because no, it's like the adrenaline of like fight or flight of like I don't want to get like bent over, I don't want to get destroyed in this deal. So you're constantly anxious and you're like secreting some sort of like chemical or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is, man. Card show stench is like a real thing. So just have deodorant, just for everybody's sake. Like the more people that do it just make it easier. Portable battery for your phone, huge. Portable battery for your phone. I use an Anchor. I got for like $40 on eBay, and it charges my phone like 6 or 7 times over. It is the best investment I've ever made. And then what do you think? Those are pretty basic ones.
Yeah, shower, like you said, like shower,
let's go over shower,
deodorant, and cologne.
Yeah.
Shower, deodorant, cologne. Shower, deodorant, cologne. That's keys. I think that's solid. And like also like it's like something where like let's say in the middle of the day you're tired at the show, like go to your room for 30 minutes or an hour, or go somewhere where you can kind of just like take a breath and like calm down, like because I think that's really big. I think people kind of get like they get so overwhelmed because there's just so much stuff to look at. So many people are there that maybe you want to meet.
Great point.
So like getting away for like a little bit, like and just like being yourself. Like for me, like, and I know like you, like I guess like people may think that like we're very like talkative like people, but like really like I'm more of like I like being like by myself, like chilling, like that's like so like getting that in a day like for me like helps me a lot. It makes me become more like expressive than when I'm like talking to people.
Absolutely, to have the energy to be able to do it.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of talking, and talking can be energy draining too.
No, yeah, and also if you're like seeing people maybe for the first time that you really want to have like an engaging conversation with, like if you're tired,
absolutely,
you know what I mean. Like it's probably not going to go as what you wanted, where you wanted it to go.
Absolutely, and it comes off like the wrong way too, and it has nothing to do with the fact that you're just fatigued.
Yeah, so. That's a huge one. I think security is another big one. Like make sure you always have like multiple people around you. Like if you're going to somewhere you don't know where it is or whatever, because it's not like you're carrying like nothing on you. You're probably gonna have some cards and stuff like that. And you want to be careful. And that's a huge one. In Atlantic City, unfortunately, it probably isn't the best area for.
It might be the worst.
Yeah, it might be the worst.
I'm kidding.
Let's be real. Like a lot of people are like, I know some people that aren't going just because they don't want to travel that far, which I get. I think that's anywhere. But number two, they don't like the area necessarily.
Yeah.
So, I still think it's going to be an amazing show. Like I think it's going to be probably one of the best nationals. Even though I can only went to one other one, but I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. To keep on the tips, because you reminded me of some stuff. this one that Justin 610 Sports Cards said on one of his pre-national pods when he did one with Cardboard Chronicles, I think, which was a great one. He said, like, if you haven't been to a national before and you start getting into like a big deal and like there's a lot of people around and so there's people watching and stuff like that, and if you start getting deeper and deeper into the negotiations and stuff like that, if you like really just take a breath and just relax and like if you and see where you're actually at, if you actually want to be continuing to do it, because sometimes like you'll feel
the pressure
to continue going down a road that maybe you don't really want to go into, and there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with being even. Look, people will say like, oh man, like this, we talked for like 20 minutes and then no deal happened. It's like, you know what, that's totally fine. If you don't feel comfortable, just have enough of a sense of yourself to just take a deep breath, say thank you very much, I really appreciate it, I'm gonna have to think about this one, or I'm just gonna pass and just walk away and stuff, because I know that happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me too, so that's one for sure.
I think that's a solid one, because there definitely is pressure as you get deeper into a negotiation of like trying to close the deal, just because you've spent that much time trying to get a deal done. And then when like people come around and kind of trying to see what you guys are doing, then it kind of adds, I don't know, the hype of the deal. So
the obligation to continue on,
and that's the beauty of like, if you see a card or somebody who has a card that you want that's going to be there, like doing it maybe in another setting, going out to dinner or getting lunch and talking over the deal might be a better way to because somebody's going to be a dealer and somebody's going to be outside of it, and they're off. But changing the scenery could help a lot too, in terms of maybe even getting a better deal at the same time.
Absolutely. I would say too, I mentioned that Justin 610 Sports Cards. If anybody wants like really good tips on before you go to the national, definitely watch the Cardboard Chronicles with Justin 610 Sports Cards, the pre-national one from 1 year ago. Watch that for sure, and then watch anything with Justin 610 Sports Cards.
He has a huge collection.
He has a great collection. He's also a really great dude, and he's got great advice great tips and stuff. So I would definitely say go check out his videos, because he's does guest appearances on a couple. So
yeah, I think I saw him. He's the guy that has the beard and
he's super tall.
Yeah, he's super nice.
Played for North Carolina in college. It's pretty cool.
His collection is insane.
He's got an insane collection.
It's crazy.
Collection. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if we're missing anything. Okay, this is a good one. Networking. How do you go about getting in? Because there's a lot of these events that are happening during the national that aren't technically a part of the national. How do you navigate which ones to go to, but also what's the difference between going to a networking event at night, or maybe it's a trade night, versus going to the actual show? What are some of the differences there?
I think one is you're going to be tired by the time those all happen.
That's true.
At least if you're me.
I'm tired.
I hear that. I would say, just like you were saying with going and taking a break, my best, because dude, the national really is like a marathon. Yeah. If you're going to do the whole thing, some people only come into town for a couple of days, so that's fine. But if you're going for all 5 days or all 6 days or whatever it is, it's like a marathon. And what really helped me was I would, after the show ended, maybe I'd leave a little bit early and I would go back to my hotel or wherever, and I'd actually maybe take a quick shower and just lay down and rest, and maybe black out the room so it's a little bit dark in there, and just chill for an hour before I would go do anything else. That way I actually have the energy, because otherwise you're so tired. And then maybe, I sometimes start to depend on alcohol to give me that second boost.
Really?
So after the show, after the day, I'll just be oh, let me have a couple drinks and then I'll be good and stuff.
Oh,
and then you just get even more tired and stuff. So I would definitely just say make sure you're getting plenty of rest.
Good food is another good one.
Food's
I eat shit.
Yeah, dude,
it's bad, and it just makes me feel shittier.
Yeah, but it is kind of national is kind of a party too, but I would say for a lot of people, if you maybe cut out some of the drinking, maybe cut out some of the bad food, that's going to help you a lot over the course of the entire show. And you're just going to have more of your wits about you, making better decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I didn't do is that I would never have like breakfast, and then I'd wait till like the afternoon to eat,
And then you eat
and I would just be so drained, and then I would eat something just bad, and then I'll get like a rush, and then get more tired, and I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So that, and then also good shoes is another huge one.
Good shoes is huge.
Because the amount of walking is insane.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what else, Franklin? What other points should we cover for that? I think that was a solid amount of tips,
You
right?
got money for water.
Yeah, I heard water was crazy. It wasn't like 12. I don't know the exact amount, but it was crazy over there last time.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. Is like have snacks.
Have snacks.
Have snacks if you can like hit like a Target or a Walmart outside, like once you're from the airport or wherever, and if you can hit anything and just pick up some stuff to have at wherever you're staying, your hotel room or your Airbnb or whatever, and then bring snacks and water with you to the show, you're gonna just save a ton of money and stuff. And yeah, it's like a twofold thing because it's like expensive and it's not good stuff. Like you're eating like hot dogs and fries and stuff like that, and it's all like $20.
Yeah, and yeah. I remember some of those experiences from National, and I was like, I should not have ate that. It's just like that's a big thing for me. Like, especially on the road. Like when you're on the road and you're going to shows and all these shows and stuff, like you're always eating like not great food because like you need something quick, you need something fast, which kind of sucks.
And then it just like compounds.
Yeah, and then like you like
doing it once in a while is okay, but it's like you keep doing it and it's just rough.
I'm off topic here, but I'm starting to like try to eat like healthier and stuff like that because like. I don't want like the food that you're eating is just so bad.
Yeah, and dude, like you have a lot on your plate. Like,
if
you want to get everything done, you have to help yourself turn into a high performance like person, and to do that, you need to eat right and drink enough water, and treat yourself right and take care of yourself. So it's only natural.
I'm trying.
Good.
It's just tough because it's like you'll be like in LA and like you'll be like, all right, like these are my options, like Chick-fil-A, like Subway, and then McDonald's. I'm like, do I really want to have like Subway right now? You know what I mean? That's like the tough part. But.
Yeah, I mean, you can get creative and go to a grocery store and literally like grab stuff to make a sandwich or grab stuff to make a salad. You can do other stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to limit yourself to just those.
Maybe I have to get some tips from you and go to the grocery store with you.
Dude, I mean, I'm pretty frugal when it comes to like eating out and stuff. So yeah, I know a lot of tricks and stuff. But dude, eating from home and prepping meals and stuff where you can, it's like saves money and it's healthy.
Yeah. Let's go into the Burbank show because that's probably the next big show after National.
Mm-hmm.
What are you kind of hearing from what's going to be going on over there, and what are you expecting for that show?
I haven't heard a lot. I just know that a lot of people are coming out. There's a lot of people from Midwest, East Coast that are going to come out. So I think it's going to be a good show. I'm hoping it rivals like a Dallas card show or something like that. But honestly, like I have not heard a lot of like actual details about the show other than the dates and where it's going to be held and everything like that.
Yeah. If somebody's coming in from out of state, like things that they should know about, like maybe some shops to attend to while they're in the area or things to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's LA, so I would just say, try to do some other stuff other than just go to the show.
Yeah, right.
Just because you're going to be in LA anyway, and there's tons of stuff going on. I mean, you got all the theme parks, you got the beaches, you got great restaurants, you got all kinds of great stuff. So I would definitely suggest trying to kill two birds. And if you're bringing girlfriends or family members or boyfriends or whatever it is, to try to kill two birds by doing something nice for them instead of just making them come to a show with you. There's just so many different things to do, and you can multitask and make it such a fun experience other than just going to a card show in Burbank.
Yeah. And the cool thing is like there's a lot of LA collectors that just have like such dope shit, especially like Kobe stuff and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to kind of show the other collectors from other states like what kind of the LA community has. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, no, there'll be tons of cool Laker stuff, and you're going to have people bringing all their like what they think will be hot in Burbank, right?
Yeah.
So there might be people that bring incredible Kobe cards that they've had or found or whatever, just because they think like, oh, this is the place to move it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're gonna shift gears into alt liquid auctions. We're actually scrolling through to see all the stuff that's ending tonight, but they have made some changes. over the last 2 weeks, I want to say, we have been kind of critical of like not what's been going on, but some of their auction values and what changes they can make. And they've made changes. They have shifted a couple things they've done. Number one is you don't actually have to deposit funds anymore into your alt account. I believe you have about like I want to say $50,000 like essentially like credit with them.
Yeah, you can bid up to 50, I believe.
So you can bid up to 50, and then if you win that item, you essentially wire the money into your account and they take it. But you basically have like a 50K credit up front to use. If you want more than that, then you have to wire essentially more in to get more alt credit to bid. So I know before we talked about maybe they should do cards 5K and under, but they've done it this way to essentially get those cards that are maybe 10, 20, 30, 40K, a couple more bids in. It will be interesting to see what happens with non-payers, just because that probably does become a little bit more of an issue, just because it's not all deposited funds. But I do think this is something positive that they did to try to bring more liquidity into their auction.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting what you're saying, how because before, the reason why everyone did like the comps of all, one reason is because if you're buying, you have low comps, but it's because you know that they're real comps.
Yes.
Because the person has to deposit the money first. So now they don't have that. The whole reason for them, I don't know the reason why for them doing this, but I would assume that they want to, because they've been sort of demolishing like the market through comps and stuff, obviously. But that being said, the market would have already gone down. They just kind of
sped up the process.
Yeah, they just put like gas. They put jet fuel on the fire, basically.
They put a lot of fuel on the fire, but they've helped at the same time.
Helped the ecosystem by buying tons of stuff off of dealers.
Sometimes full values on some stuff.
100%, which then those dealers just take it and reinvest it right in the cards again.
Yeah, so they've helped the market in a lot of ways, and they've also, you could say hurt it in a couple ways as well.
They've kind of created like this like wholesale atmosphere, because only like so many people. It's not that so many people are allowed on there, but it sort of is. There is only so many people that are willing to give over their bank information to be able to bid with that terms of service that we were talking about.
Yeah, and that was I don't know if we want to bring
I don't really know too many of the specifics. I just know that they have a terms of service that some people are opposed to, and some people are more less risk adverse, to where they're willing to sign up for the terms of service when they give over their bank account information. So I think it's something that everybody should look into themselves and make their own decision on it, the terms of service, before they bid on alt. But yeah, I wouldn't.
It would be cool to get Lior on the pod.
Lior would be a great guest to have on the pod,
because there's so many things that every week we talk about alt, so it would be cool to have him to have on. Okay, Coleman, is there anything that you're looking at tonight on alt?
There's a lot of stuff I'm watching.
Any Luka Prism Golds?
There's no Luka Prism Golds. There is a Luka Prism Blue Ice 9.5, which is at 9,500 right now, and the alt value on it is $18,000. That's crazy. That was like a $50,000 card.
Did the 10 sell recently?
6 months ago? I think the last PSA 10 sale was like 40.
Wow.
But it'll be interesting to see what that goes for, just because Luka Prism color has gone down by so much, and that is absolutely one of his best colors, because it's the color match with the light blue ice from 2018, which people love. So I'll just be interested to see what that actually goes for. There's also some rare LeBrons on here too, which I'm very interested to see what they go for. There's a second-year SP Authentic auto patch out of 10, which is an extremely rare card. What's funny is I was bidding on this when it was on Robert Edwards auction 6 months ago, and Alt must have bought it. So I was the underbidder on it, and Alt smoked me on it. But it looks like now
You got a shot.
I could literally probably buy it back for 40% off of what I.
Oh, so they helped you out.
They helped you out. But the market's also gone down. But so that's interesting. I'll be interested to see how that does because that card never pops up. There's just some rare LeBron stuff. Like there's a Black Diamond Rainbow rookie out of 10, BGS 9.5. That's a ghost card. It's at 9,500 right now. I'll be very interested to see what that goes for. Curry Chrome Refractor 9.5. That'll be interesting to see what that goes for. KD stuff.
KD stuff is down so much.
Looks like LeBron Refractor PSA 10 is like actually strong around 40. It's at 42 right now for an all comp. LeBron Ultimate Collection Auto Rookie 9.5. Brady Refractor 8.5. We'll see how low that gets. See if that creates a new low comp for the Brady Refractor market. Herbert 4-color RPA BGS 9. It's at 60 grand right now. And this is all with 6 hours and 45 minutes left. So by the time this pod comes out, these will all be closed. This is us just speculating and giving opinions and stuff of how this auction will do and everything. How do you think this auction will do with this new format where you do not have to deposit money prematurely? You can literally, you have buying power up to 50K given to you as long as you sign up.
I would assume that it would do better for the high end because there's more power to bid. That would be like the obvious answer, I feel like. But you never know with the way the economy is.
How everything is right now, right?
But yeah, if I was there, like if I was in, let's say I worked for Alt or whatever it is, and the last like 6-7 auctions haven't been doing the way you thought it would be doing, you'd have to make some sort of shift. And I think this is the plan that they made. Now, what I talked about before on the pod was they should just do cards 5K and under because you have to put in funds. So they basically went kind of like the other way of like, we're going to keep our high-end cards on here, but we're going to have a little bit less of them because there's not as much big stuff running at the same time. And we're going to free up basically 50K credit to everybody. Mm-hmm. So I think that's smart in terms of it creates liquidity. But at the same time, some of these cards that are being run are cards that have comped out on Alt previously. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of we'll see if they go higher. I think they'll probably do the same because what has happened is like it used to be where Alt comps were almost not real because everybody knew that they were cheap.
Right.
And now it's turned into, no, that sets the new comp, which is not great if you own one of those cards. So yeah, there's a couple things I'm looking at too. I saw that Babe Ruth cut, which I thought was pretty sick. That stuff like at National, I think will be pretty hot. And like that's a collector card. There's a Mac Jones NTRP I'm looking at. It's a gold out of 10 actually. That's kind of sick, and it's a 10 auto. And a lot of Mac Jones stuff is like 7, 8, 9 autos. Like you don't really see too many 10 autos. There was a Jordan LeBron duel that I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah. It was the trilogy Signs of Stardom duel.
Oh, okay.
But it was like a blue auto. I've never seen that card before.
Bright blue? Oh, yeah. That's a weird one. Oh, it's blue. Wait, it's like a different color blue ink.
Yeah.
A different type of pen. Like not dark, light blue.
The last comp was February 20th on PWCC Premier for 22.8K. And this is at 8,000 right now, and Alt's value is 15,000. So it kind of might be
might go low.
Might go low, but I don't know.
A lot of the stuff I don't know if I'm wondering, is it too late for them to start doing these things like give everyone 50K buying power? Like, yeah, is the damage already done to where it's like you start to do things to try to open it up to where more people can bid, but it's like you've already ran so many auctions now, you created so many comps that it's like it's going to take a while for it to actually, because like you said, everyone wants to honor those comps and everything. And I can't imagine there's going to be that many cards on here where bidders are going to be willing to go over what the comp was or over what the alt value is, unless it's like extremely rare there, and a couple people decide to go crazy on it, which we're going to see. We'll see some of that for sure.
I think that I think it's like two separate things. I think the comps that they created, that's going to be a big job to like, all right, can we get these up, right? And then the second thing is like their like brand. I think what they need to do is get their marketing out there and going, because I feel like they have so much like money in terms of like their startup money, where like, hey, you really need to go out and get new customers, right? Like, what's the cost basis of getting somebody, to be a buyer on the platform, but also like get new collectors involved, right? And stuff like that. I know they're in the NFT space, and they're, I think they have like a product now where like, it's like you open the product on alt, and it's actually like you get cards that are in the vault. So I don't know like too much about that, but that's interesting. But in terms of liquid auctions, they really need to like boost up the marketing and make it more like of an event, right? Than anything. Like, I feel like when Golden ends or Premiere ends, it's almost like an event in a way.
Well, and they're monthly too. This is what we include.
Yeah, and I think they bought so much stuff. Like, they bought like 4 or 5 LeBron refractors a couple months ago, where they're just getting those out, where they kind of understand that they're gonna lose money on them maybe, but they just want to get them out and like have maybe a fresher plate, I guess, to start with. Because a couple months ago they were buying stuff like outright, versus now they're only buying at 72% most of the times, I believe.
Yeah.
So they are like changing up their strategies in a way, which I think is a good thing. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see them doing the same thing over and over and over again and just getting killed, right? So I think that they have really smart people behind them, and I don't think, somebody that's listening to this shouldn't feel like, oh well, I don't want to like start something in the card business, whether that's a startup or whatever, because I'm going to there's going to be tough times. Like, that's part of it. Like, all 3 years from now can turn up and be something amazing that we all like love. It's just these early stages where really companies make and break it, I feel like, right?
Yeah, a lot of chaos.
Like, Whatnot started 2 or 3 years ago, and like it's massive now, right? Like, there was definitely a couple things that happened earlier that maybe were pivotal points where people were harping on them maybe, or whatever it is, but I don't know necessarily what those things are, but they came out of that, and they have it's an amazing company now, right? So it's just for us as dealers and collectors, stuff that we think that they can get better at. And I don't
know. Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's so early in all this that who knows where they're gonna end up going. And plus, if they continue to buy through all this, and as things do get better, then they'll make it all right back and look like geniuses anyway. So and
I think everybody's chasing to be like that vault, like the place to put your cards, and be like the whole NFT version of your card. It's in the vault and you can transfer it wherever you want. Like, everybody's chasing to be that. So it seems like they have a shot of kind of being that company, and I know they're getting into watches and all different types of collectible assets. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I want to see these companies to succeed, because it helps our businesses at the end of the day too. Like, it seems like a lot of people in the hobby, especially like whether it's on whatever social media account, but it's like it's become very, very negative towards companies. Whereas like, I want to view it like, okay, what happened? Like, what in reality happened? Like, and what can they get better at? And what do we see it being in the future? Like, just really taking things as it is versus getting too hyped up about it. And like, I don't know. The community's weird now, bro. Like, I don't know if you've felt it too, but like from like 3 years ago, where like kind of like everybody knew each other and like everybody knew what the vibe was, and like going to a trade night and it was like a huge event, versus now like it's very like, I don't know. It's just like it's a different vibe than I guess what it was.
Yeah, it's spread out. It's I mean, like I've been saying this for a while. Card shows are so watered down now. I went to this Indiana one, and it finally made me feel like go into like an old one where it was like this event
Yeah.
because they put so much good production into it, and there were so many new people there that I hadn't seen that it actually did feel like a reminiscent one. Whereas now you go to all these shows and they're not as special as like they used to be and everything because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, because you'd always you'd be able to see the person that you wouldn't be able to see, and it's just different now. I don't think it's a bad thing. It was a Wednesday. We went to trade night. Like I'll be at every show. It's just it would be cool to maybe get that kind of 3 years ago, 4 years ago vibe back. That would be fun to see. You know what I mean?
For the alt ending tonight, what's the one card you're the most interested in seeing what it sells for?
It's a really good question.
If you have one,
I'm
gonna see if I can find one that I like that I'm most interested in seeing. And
I would like to see the LeBron refractor do 50.
I was gonna see. I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to seem like I was trolling you though. I wanted to ask you final sale price on the LeBron Topps Chrome.
What is that? 42.
It's at 42 right now. Yeah. What do you think that's going to be tonight?
I think it does So my heart would say it will do 50, but my head will say it'll do 44 to 46.
44 to 46. Okay, that sounds about right. So 45, basically.
Yeah.
That's what my bet would have said too. Okay, I'm very interested to see. Well, there's a few cards, so I'll just pick one. This one's kind of funny. There's a James Harden 2009 National Treasures rookie patch auto, BGS 9.5. It's at $3,000 right now. The equivalent Steph Curry, and I'm not trying to say this is cheap. I'm not trying to say the Harden RBA is cheap. I do own a BGS 9 that I've owned for 10 years.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to pump this card at all. But I think that team actually I think they've had a great offseason so far. I think that they could really be in a good position to make a run for the East next year. And I would wonder if anybody is getting ahead of that curve by looking at that Harden tonight. And obviously this pod won't go out. This pod will go out after the fact that I'm saying this, but I'll be very interested to see if that where that ends up going. I think that where's the last comp? The last comp on it is Alt has it at about 10K. So I'll be interested to see if that approaches 10K or if that goes lower or whatever. So there it is.
Yeah, there's a Wilt 61 Fleer.
PSA 4?
Yeah.
That looks nice.
I bought an 8 OC on Sunday. So I don't know, I'll be interested to see what this one goes for.
In this tray, black gold, PSA 10.
Oh yeah.
What's that at? 18,000 right now. Alt has it at 85,000. I do not think it's going to do 85,000. Most recent comp on anything similar is a true gold PSA 10 sold for 90 on Premier.
So what do you think that's going to do?
I think that does
40,
45, 50 maybe.
Yeah, that's it. I think it does 40. Yeah, 40.
And I think that puts to bed freaking the whole
black gold thing. Yeah, I never got that.
I think it was kind of like a pump thing, but yeah, that's probably what I'm the most. Be interested to see what this Brady Mirror Gold Leaf Certified BGS 9 does. There's 35 of them. It's kind of an obscure card. It's 2000 Leaf Certified Mirror Gold Tom Brady out of 35. It'd be interesting to see what that goes.
There's a DeRozan Gold Topps Chrome Gold PSA 10.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. You know that card very well.
I know that card very well. I bought that. I basically bought. It's Pop 1, so I bought. That's the same exact card. I bought that card at a show one day, sold it the same day, and it actually comped on Golden after that for 12/6, April 30th.
Wow. So that's not the buyer that I know that put that into alt. So that's a different buyer that bought it.
So he probably sent it to Golden.
He sent to Golden, it did 12.
And then Paul bought it.
Paul bought it, and now they're running it.
So it's currently at 3,000. Now, if we want to go equivalent to a Curry, what would a Curry Topps Chrome Gold PSA 10 do?
Right now, 700, 800. I think it's a pop
at
2.
At prime when the refractor. Yeah.
I think it's 700 to 800 right now. It's a pop 2, so that makes it a little bit harder to evaluate. But I think it's a $750,000 card. So yeah. So basically, the DeRozan's undervalued. No. That's cheap. That's cheap. It is cheap for that card. literally like one of his best cards. It's pop 1. The Bulls are going to be healthy this year. So, who knows?
When do you think basketball starts heating up?
I think it's already kind of heating up. But
Really?
yeah, I think it has already started. Maybe not like big time, but I've noticed it. And then I think bi-national basketball is going to be hot. So that's in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks?
Yeah, I think trading football into basketball at national is going to be a play.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be like everyone I've heard. It used. Okay, so the narrative I would hear all the time is Herbert stuff is going to be so huge at national.
That's when it's going to be stale.
Now the narrative I'm hearing is I'm going to try and trade all my football stuff into basketball at the national. So I'll be very interested to see like what correlates at the national, because I do think basketball will be hot at the national. I think Anthony Edwards will be hot. I think there's going to be a lot of other. I think LeBron is going to be hot. I think Luka is going to be hot. I think Curry's going to be hot, because I think Curry hasn't even experienced any sort of jump really.
Curry's stuff has gone down after you won
right.
After you won.
And I think people are going to see hey, they could do it again, and then he would get 5, because that team's going to be better next year. So
yeah,
I think like you're going to see a lot of basketball. I think I'm a little bit biased because I mostly only do basketball, but I think it'll be hot at national. That's my.
There's stuff. The stuff came down so much in basketball where it's like at what there has to be buyers at what it's at right now.
100%. Yeah. So we'll see, but we'll see where the economy is in a month too.
That's another thing. Yeah, I don't know. I would say just if you're planning to go to whether it's the national or other shows, or you're in the market, just take it one day at a time. Just chill.
Yep.
One day at a time. And like you said, move inventory. Like don't.
Yeah. Do not over leverage yourself right now. Do not over leverage yourself. There's a great quote by Warren Buffett, which is, "When the tide goes in, you can see who's skinny dipping." Which basically means like if you're over leveraged, and we see a recession, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You have no money. You owe money. You're not able to sell your assets, or if you do, you have to sell them for pennies on the dollar. It's a rough position to be in.
And that's where like a lot of these auction houses and stuff like that, like over the last couple of years, they've given out loans based off of card values, and that's also very. We didn't think to mention this, but that's also a very dynamic like point of like, that if a lot of the money that's in the market is like loaned out money based off of another card's value, it creates like a huge bubble in a way.
Yeah.
Which is also another scary thing. I'm not saying that's what it is. It's not at all. But I'm saying like, if you're an auction house, like I would say you really want to be aware of like, because let's say you're an auction house, right? And I have a $100,000 card. We say, look, Sasha, I'm going to give you $60,000 cash for this card. Just hold it in our vault as a loan, right? And you pay it back over the next, whatever it is, 6 months. But if that card goes down to, the next comp becomes like 45,000 or even 60, it changes that dynamic of that card so much, and the cash that's out already on the card.
Right. And then do you even want to pay the?
And then do you even want to pay the money?
When do you say I'm going to pay it back, or I'm just not going to let them have it, and then they auction it off and it goes for cheap because they got
exactly
whatever.
So there's I don't know. There's a dynamic there that I think we'll see a little bit of like that, like people almost defaulting in a way, or just saying take the card.
Yeah.
But
at some point, this stuff is not worthless. Like
no. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is like on the way down, nobody can see the bottom, and then on the way up, nobody knows where the top. Nobody thinks there's a top.
And we were talking about that like yesterday. We were like, because there's certain cards that did have a little bit of a bounce back, and like at that time, like nobody wanted to touch it because it just kept going down and down and down. Right. It's like you didn't want to be the person that bought something for whatever it is, like $10, and tomorrow it becomes $3, and then the next day it becomes $2. You know what I mean? It just you never know where that bottom is, and that's the cool thing. Like if people, let's say are whales or big business guys, they can come in right now and scoop some really amazing cards at like solid prices.
Yeah. People with money right now. This is how you make world-changing money, is by having money during times like this to be able to make investments and plays and stuff like that. So we'll see.
That was solid. I think that was solid. We covered a bunch of topics.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
that's going to be it for today, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, sorry about the audio. We will have it good and running by next episode. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment. If it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on there, make sure you leave a positive review. Appreciate it, guys. See you guys soon.